Hi guys, this is the response to the Common Core website. The Spark website for the Common Core resources that I was looking through earlier. Um, One of the questions was explain which of the Common Core resources you found on the Spark website to be most valuable, or maybe most valuable, and why. Um, I actually worked with Spark a lot in undergrad for PE, and I used it in a program called Vox, where we did a lot of integration with the Spark standards, which was a lot of fun. It was really cool. A really, really good website with a lot of information. I actually didn't know that they had Common Core stuff on there as well, which is really cool because I was looking through the Common Core Survival Guide, which is a nice little setup for us just to see what we're dealing with and how to implement the Common Core standards into physical education. I've seen a lot of new mainstream things online and stuff where teachers are coming up with new fun games to use math and like implementing the tic-tac-toe games and stuff like that, or something with geometry. Trying to figure out certain things as far as what they can implement for English, math, and writing and reading. Which is really cool for me. I really like that the implementation is there and that it's being mainstreamed into physical education. But I didn't know that Spark had all this information on there, which was really good to see because I really like Spark's website as it is, and I'm really familiar with it. So seeing that we have this tool and this resource for PE teachers to be able to implement this stuff to make our job a little bit easier, but help us with creative ideas so that we can give back to our students as well. And continue to implement those Common Core standards and integrate them into a curriculum that we can universally design for all of our students and hit certain targets and find strengths within the students in physical education while implementing the rest of the integrated program in there, which is a really cool thing for me. And I think is a little challenging at times, but with the proper help and the guidelines that we have set up by Spark, or just with the community that we're surrounded with, and grabbing our teachers, our coworkers, and our administration, we can make PE more fun and more exciting, but at the same time, a better place for learning for our students. It's not just a form of activity anymore. Like we were talked about earlier in the past, we were talking about physical education and physical activity, finding the differences between that and actually teaching physical education, but finding the integrated system to make it work together. So that was a huge thing for me, which I really, really liked as far as something that I can use in the future for my future classrooms. We'll go ahead and fall into those 4 C's with the creativity. We're going to find creativity in what our lesson plans look like, what our games look like, what our application looks like. There's going to be creativity in there. It's not going to be boring anymore. Try and stay away from that standard of what people think of physical education, just like, hey, here's a bunch of balls, go play. We just don't want to do that anymore. We want to move outside of the box, continue to meet the standards that we have set for us, but apply this information to continue the creativity inside of our classroom and for our students as well. And together that'll create collaboration, not just between the students and yourself, but your other teachers as well, where you can collaborate with the math teachers, with the reading teachers, the English department, and everything, and implement these games with them and say, hey, look, little Johnny is struggling over here with reading and math and everything, but I have little Johnny figuring out math problems on the basketball court when he's shooting 3-pointers and he's adding things up together because it's physical for him and he's making the connections where he wasn't making connections in the classroom. So I believe that's a huge tool for collaboration with your student, but with the other teachers to figure out how each student learns. And in that will apply the critical thinking, whereas these kids are thinking in a more hurried way. They're thinking on their feet. They're applying what they see and what they're taught from us in the short amount of time that we have, and they're applying that critical thinking to the situation that they're already in. So I think that's a great key as well, whereas you see the creativity, you see the collaboration, you see the critical thinking, and then following up with that will be the communication between you and everybody else. You in the classroom, you and the students, you and the teachers, and them communicating with their fellow students and learning the communication for themselves and how they learn. So I think it's huge to see that Bloom's taxonomy is profoundly integrated into the Common Core standards, but in the same way as PE teachers, we get to make it our own still. We get to implement that stuff, but at the same time, we're still making it our own. We're still having our own environment. Unlike any other teacher out there, They still apply to the standards. We still apply to the standards, but we have so much more wiggle room. We have more tools. We have less time, but we have more tools to make things more creative and more fun, to integrate these certain programs, or to integrate these Common Core standards into the classroom while making it fun and exciting for students. So I really think this is a really, really cool website. Spark is awesome. I've always been a huge fan of Spark, and I will continue to use Spark, especially with this new Given Knowledge.